9 Golden Age Hollywood graves that are haunted. The cameras have stopped rolling, but the stories haven't ended. Across Los Angeles, behind wrought iron gates and marble facades, lie the final resting places of Hollywood's golden icons. But for some of these luminaries, final may be the wrong word entirely. There's something different about celebrity graves, revealed a longtime groundskeeper at a Hollywood cemetery. Regular folks rest. Famous people? They linger. It's like they can't quite accept the show is over, or maybe we won't let them go. Either way, certain plots here have activity that can't be easily explained. Tonight we explore 9 of Hollywood's most persistently active grave sites, final resting places where staff, visitors, and paranormal investigators consistently report unexplained phenomena that suggest Golden Age stars may still be making their presence known long after their final curtain call.
No, we're very happy to have I'm happy to be back. It's not my hometown. Yeah. Well, you're happy to come out.
Marilyn Monroe, the restless icon. In the small, elegant Westwood Village Memorial Park, surrounded by quiet residential streets and UCLA campus buildings, lies Hollywood's most iconic blonde. Since her mysterious death in 1962, Marilyn Monroe's crypt has become both pilgrimage site and paranormal hotspot, a place where the boundary between fan devotion and genuine supernatural phenomena becomes increasingly blurred. She was Hollywood's most tragic icon, and her crypt is never silent, confirmed a security guard who has worked night shifts at the cemetery for over 15 years. Most famous graves receive visitors, flowers, occasional whispered words. Marilyn's is different. There's a persistent energy there that doesn't dissipate even when the grounds are empty and locked. Something remains active regardless of human presence. This activity manifests in consistent, specific ways that have been reported by numerous unrelated visitors and staff. Cold spots, sudden, localized drops in temperature with no meteorological explanation, are frequently reported directly in front of her crypt, even on the warmest Los Angeles afternoons. More intriguingly, many visitors report the distinct scent of Chanel No. 5, Monroe's signature perfume, wafting near the marble wall when no one wearing fragrance is present. Visitors report cold spots, phantom perfume, and a presence that feels watched, explained a tour guide who regularly brings groups to the cemetery. What's particularly convincing is when someone who knows nothing about Marilyn's perfume preference suddenly asks, "Does anyone else smell Chanel?" It happens at least once a month, always near her crypt, always when there's no obvious source. The most disturbing reports come from security personnel working overnight shifts. Multiple guards, interviewed separately over different years, have reported hearing soft, muffled sounds emanating from the wall where Monroe's crypt is located, sounds that some describe as weeping or quiet conversation, though no distinct words are discernible. One guard claimed he heard soft crying from inside the wall, revealed the cemetery administrator. He was a former military man, not prone to imagination or exaggeration. He submitted his resignation the next day, refusing to work nights again. When pressed, he would only say, "Some sadness shouldn't be witnessed. It's too private." Paranormal researchers suggest that if Monroe's spirit does linger, it might reflect the circumstances of both her life and death. Known for her fear of being alone and her desire for connection, Monroe died in isolation under circumstances that continue to generate controversy and conspiracy theories. This combination of emotional vulnerability and unresolved endings creates what some parapsychologists call a perfect storm for spiritual activity. They say Marilyn never liked being alone, and maybe she still isn't, noted a medium who has conducted several sanctioned after-hours investigations at the cemetery. The energy doesn't feel threatening or negative, just unsettled and seeking connection. It's consistent with someone who never found peace in life, continuing to seek it after death. Whether these experiences reflect genuine paranormal activity or the powerful psychological impact of Monroe's enduring cultural significance, her crypt remains one of Hollywood's most active locations for reported phenomena, a final resting place where the star who never found peace in life seems equally restless in death. Rudolph Valentino, the wandering lover. At Hollywood Forever Cemetery, among the industry's most ornate monuments and mausoleums, the grave of silent film's greatest lover has generated consistent reports of unusual activity for nearly a century. Rudolph Valentino, The Italian-born star who defined romantic masculinity for the 1920s before his untimely death at age 31 appears to have maintained his restless, passionate nature long after his physical form was laid to rest. Valentino died young, but his ghost grew old, observed a groundskeeper who has maintained the cemetery grounds for over 2 decades. Most paranormal activity stays consistent over time. With Valentino, witnesses from the 1930s through today describe seeing the same figure, a man in period clothing moving with purpose through the cemetery grounds, always near his final resting place, but never quite at rest. The paranormal activity associated with Valentino's grave falls into 2 distinct categories. The first centers around the famous Lady in Black, a mysterious veiled woman who began visiting his grave shortly after his death in 1926 and continues in various incarnations to this day. While the original visitor's identity sparked decades of speculation, the tradition she began has evolved into a phenomenon that some believe creates a psychic channel strengthening Valentino's presence at the site. Every year, a mysterious Lady in Black visits his grave, confirmed a Hollywood historian who has documented the tradition. What's interesting is that even when no official lady is performing the ritual, security cameras occasionally capture glimpses of a dark-clothed figure approaching the grave during off hours when the cemetery is closed. When guards investigate, no one is there, but fresh flowers sometimes appear without explanation. The second and more directly supernatural category involves sightings of a male figure that matches Valentino's distinctive appearance and mannerisms. Security personnel working night shifts have repeatedly reported glimpsing a man in dark clothing with a cape or long coat moving purposefully through the garden areas near Valentino's resting place, only to disappear when approached. And at night, workers say they've seen a man in a cape vanish behind the mausoleum gates, said a paranormal investigator who has interviewed multiple witnesses. The descriptions remain consistent across decades. A dark-haired man of medium height wearing clothing from the 1920s, moving with the distinctive posture and gait that Valentino was known for. He's most often seen near the cathedral mausoleum where he's interred, particularly around the anniversary of his death in August. Technical anomalies further suggest unusual energy around Valentino's grave. Electrical disturbances, malfunctioning cameras, draining batteries, flickering lights, occur with unusual frequency near his final resting place. Doors to the mausoleum sometimes open or close without apparent cause, particularly during quiet periods when few visitors are present. Lights flicker, doors creak, noted a security supervisor. We've replaced the wiring, checked for drafts, looked for logical explanations, but it happens consistently in that specific area, particularly around his birthday and death anniversary. Maintenance staff joke that he's still making dramatic entrances and exits. Paranormal researchers suggest that Valentino's continued presence might reflect his sudden, untimely death at the height of his fame. Cut down by peritonitis before he had reached his full potential, the star received one of the most dramatic funerals in Hollywood history, with thousands of fans creating near riots in their attempts to pay respects. This combination of sudden transition, unfinished business, and intense public emotion creates what some parapsychologists consider ideal conditions for spiritual imprints to remain active. The Latin lover isn't resting, he's wandering, suggested the medium who has investigated the site. The energy doesn't feel trapped or suffering, more like someone still taking curtain calls, enjoying the continuing attention, and perhaps looking for the recognition that was cut short too soon. It's theatrical, dramatic, and very much in keeping with his persona. Whether psychological projection or genuine supernatural phenomena, Valentino's continuing presence at Hollywood forever represents one of the industry's most enduring ghost stories, a narrative that, like the star himself, refuses to fade quietly into history.
I suppose you can do better. That is correct.
Clifton Webb, the watchful presence. Nearby, in the same storied grounds of Hollywood Forever Cemetery, lies the crypt of Clifton Webb, a star whose distinctive screen persona as the acerbic, sophisticated intellectual seems to continue in his afterlife presence. Known for roles like Waldo Lydecker in Laura and Mr. Belvedere, Webb projected an aura of cold perfection and judgmental observation that visitors to his gravesite report feeling to this day. Best known for Laura and his icy on-screen charm, began the cemetery tour guide before lowering her voice. Webb's presence is less theatrical than Valentino's, but in some ways more directly felt. He doesn't appear visually as often. Instead, people experience him as a palpable sense of being observed and evaluated, a perfect continuation of the characters that made him famous.